I did the brotherly thing the other day. I sent my brother a link to the podcast, and if some of you guys listened to it, there was no sound at all. And there's a part of me that wanted to be like, oh my gosh, what happened here? But the other part was like what my mom taught me. She said, shrug your shoulders, son, put your hands up in the air and just repeat after me. And I said, what? She said, shit. Like, if something doesn't work out exactly the way that you want it to, shit, maybe it wasn't supposed to happen that way. I released a podcast today. It actually came out at 7 o'clock this morning, and it had absolutely no sound at all. And so, but the cool thing is I had sent it to my brother, and then I said, I didn't get a response. And, I reached out to him today. I was talking to him. I said, well, if you get a chance, listen to that podcast. He's like, I did. I turned it on, but there was no sound. Maybe it was my phone. And then I checked it out. And guess what? There was no sound. So I get a chance to be able to do it again. And I think we could do it even better. So shit, here it goes, right? A lot of us in our lives, we have mentors, friends, people who inspire us, people who drive us, people who protect us, people who bless us, people who hold us accountable, people who encourage us. And the cool thing for me is, like, you could think about it. Most people with all those descriptions, they have 15 different people in their life. And, when one of them isn't there, the encourager or the person who holds you accountable, there's deficiencies in our life. And, there's a lot of people that we would have to have. And for me, I'm very fortunate because one person in my life embodies all of them. And he's not only my best friend, but he's actually my brother. And when I watch him, I always thought in my whole entire life, I just watch him do these things and it was effortless. And he was just effortless in what he did. He encouraged me. It was just what he did. And he protected me as what he did. He was my mentor. He was my friend. He inspired me. It was just like it was effortless. And then we were having breakfast with my dad one time in Las Vegas at Sunrise Cafe. And if you haven't ever been to Sunrise Cafe, it is the greatest for breakfast on the planet. Amazing people, incredible service, but phenomenal food. I love to go there every time I'm in Las Vegas. And a big shout out. I'd like to have the owner on the podcast, which I think would be amazing. But we were sitting there and we were talking about something. And I said, to my brother, I kind of wrote it off. I was like, you're just natural at this. And he was like, natural? He said, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, you were just natural. Whatever you did, like, you were good at. It was almost like it was just effortless. And he looked at me. He's like, dude, I had to work harder than anybody else just to get to the baseline. And I started to realize at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, my brother's so natural at all these things. It seems effortless, but you mean to tell me there was all this work that he put in? And he was like, yeah, it's the work that most of the time people will never see. They'll never recognize. You'll never get any shine about it. But it was the work that I put in when nobody was watching that put me to a place where I was effortless. And it hit me like my whole entire life. Like I think 45 when I learned this. I'm 49 now. So for 45 years of my life, I thought this person was just effortless in what he did. And he was just able to inspire me, protect me. He was able to be good at basketball, baseball, football, whatever. He now be one of the top attorneys in Las Vegas. But what I realized is that it wasn't that it was just natural. It was all the work that he put in. And in Proverbs 28, it actually talks about the work that we need to do to get to the point where we can be effortless in what we do. So I love you, brother. This was for you, Rob. This was for you on your birthday. It was my birthday present to you, and it came out with no sound. But today, hopefully, we have some sound. And I want to tell you, I love you more than anything in the world. You inspire me. You encourage me. You protect me. You're a mentor. You're a friend. I look to you as a father. I look to you as a husband. I look to you as everything. You are an incredible, incredible human being. There's no one like you. And I thought you were effortless, but now I figured out through Proverbs 28 that all the work that you've had to put in. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got two shines, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. shoes.
What does it take to be effortless? I wish that I had the formula as a kid because, it's amazing sitting down with you now because I feel a lot more free. And even in this episode right now, because I've done it before, I did it, but it didn't have any sound. And on the second time, it's almost one of those things where I'm sitting into it and saying like, oh, wow, I already put in the work. I already recorded this before. And now I'll record it with sound. But that goes to show that in Proverbs 28, when it talked about the work that we do when nobody sees, when nobody will give us credit, that is the stuff that will make us seem natural or effortless in our emotions. And I want to tell you, Rob, you inspire me every single day. Thank you for talking to me this morning. I got a chance to talk to you and your wife, Lisa, and you guys inspire me. The podcast wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for those two. The soundboard that I have, the Rodecaster Pro, that's a huge shout out to that. I wouldn't even have it. They blessed me with that. These guys are incredible and honestly selfless, always thinking about other people. And my brother, I've noticed as he goes along and as he continues to, grow in his profession, as a father, as a friend, he just keeps pouring the blessings out on everybody else, and it's incredible. So let's jump into this. Well, if you haven't got tickets to the Vibe Room, guys, it is right on the like when I keep telling you this is going to sell out, and it's right there. We've probably got 2 tickets left to the Vibe Room, and I am just like over the moon. We've got Baron Baptiste, we got Janae Thompson, we got Coach Keith Hale, we got Curtis Nieder, who's going to be on the guitar and playing some bluegrass. It's going to be unreal, incredible night. We got Sunny Days. I'm not even supposed to talk about Sunny Days, but I've got Sunny Days, which is our partner there, and they are going to. I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Be an amazing night. So if you haven't got tickets, check it in the bio. There's only about 2 left, so you can check that out. If you haven't bought the book, The Vibe, too, I would encourage you to do it. You could click the link in the bio. It is about 117 pages. I wrote it myself with 2 fingers, typing on the keyboard for 6 days in the side yard. And, it wasn't from theory. It's what we actually did and how we built a multi-million-dollar company with 19 to 24-year-olds at the helm. And what we realized was it wasn't the systems that we put in play. It was the actual way that the people felt about the systems. And it doesn't mean that we were correct in all the things that we did, but I learned a lot of lessons and then I wrote them down. And, it's incredible because, guys, if you take your heart set, which is your belief system, your mindset, which is your intentions, and your skill set, which is your actions, put them in line, you create an irresistible vibe. And then your offering falls away, your price falls away, your product falls away, and people just want to be a part of you. And that's what the vibe is. So the vibe is not the energy you bring into the room. It is the way that people feel when you leave. So when I learned that, it was a paradigm shift. Let's jump right into Proverbs 28 today, the corresponding proverb for the corresponding day. It's Inchstones. And Inchstones are just small, little incremental ways to be able to get better every single day. And when you pile them up, guess what they create? A milestone. And so that's why we connect on this Inchstones aspect. So in the verse 1, 6, 10, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 24, and 28, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 9 verses says the same thing. So it must be important, is when you do right hard work, you will be as bold as a lion. And I think about this with my brother, Rob. That guy is bold as a lion. He'll walk into any situation. He's willing and ready to go to war or do whatever he needs to do. The reason why is because he does right hard work when you're not looking. And so because he's prepared at the level that he's prepared, it's amazing what'll happen when he walks into a place and he's got, like, when it says bold as a lion, this is the way I grew up, right, as the little brother. I would practice all day playing basketball. And let's use basketball as an example. I'd be shooting, dribbling, doing all this stuff. My brother would come up and he would tell me how he was going to beat me in the game before we actually played. Then while we were playing, he would tell me all the things that he was doing while he was beating me. And then when we were done, he would laugh with me and he would be like, ha, that's the way I beat you. So he would talk about it, he would do it, and then he would talk about it afterwards. But that was that boldness, but it became because he did right hard work when nobody was looking. Here we go in verse 2. Precision beats speed, and both of them together are rarely defeated. Sit in that for a second. I noticed this when it was a quote from Conor McGregor when he beat Jose Aldo. They both threw a punch. He threw a left, and I think that Jose Aldo threw a left. His was more precise. And he said it afterwards, precision beats speed every time. But when I looked at this, if you have precision and speed together, meaning that you're efficient in what you do and you can do your thing, you can get to that point quick, but you can also be precise, it's very, very, very seldom it'll be defeated. And so if you want to be precise, you'll study your craft. You'll do the right hard work. If you want to be fast, you'll look at your processes and make them as efficient as possible. There's always a way to be able to cut away the fat. In verse and that's in verse 2. In verse 3, 8, 15, the truly powerful will seldom hurt you. I noticed this with my friends that, we were in the mixed martial arts world for years. I wasn't a practitioner, but we were just around in the world. And my brother, was the manager for Vanderlei Silva back in the day. And I would watch and we'd be around these guys that were absolute killers, but they would never hurt you because they were the powerful one. The truly powerful will seldom hurt you. It doesn't mean they never will, but they'll seldom hurt you because they know they can. And so in verse 4, 5, 7, and 9 is this. And I look at this with my brother, with Rob, and I want to shout out to you. And I can't tell you how much I love you, man, but I'll try my whole entire life until you understand, Rob, how much I love you and how much you're my hero, my protector, my best friend, my brother. I mean, and you make me laugh like crazy. It's incredible. So a student of the game will curb their ego when necessary and are constantly getting better. Watch that. When you're a student of the game, you curb your ego when it's necessary, but ego isn't always bad. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes you can use it to push you forward. Patrick Umel, if you didn't get a chance to hear that podcast, is on episode 542. That guy is an absolute beast. And what he was talking about, he said there's a dark side to leadership, and there's a place where sometimes you have to make that switch. He referred to Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. When they stepped onto the floor, they had to be something else. They had to tap into the ego part to say, I've got to be the best at this thing because there's a lot of people counting on me for the results. And when you're a student of the game, you know when to curb your ego when it's necessary, but you're constantly getting better. In verse 11, 12, 14, 25, and 26 is know how and who to trust. I think this one's a big shout out to my brother too, because he's an attorney and my brother doesn't just trust anybody. I bring to him a story all the time and he'll be like, yeah, let me poke a hole in it. Let me figure out, let me scratch the surface and see if they actually are what they're talking about, right? And with this is also, it doesn't mean that he just becomes jaded. He knows how to trust people, but he also knows who to trust. And so those are two powerful things in our life, is knowing how to trust, but also knowing who to trust, because that will be invaluable in your life. In verse 13, 17, and 23, reality, no matter how messy, is more valuable than the most elaborate facade. Right? This one hits me huge because, like, reality, I had a guy in our men's group, I won't tell you his name, but he came and he said, he's having some challenges. He's having some financial challenges. And he was like, I don't know if I should tell my fiance. And all of us as guys were like, no, that's the first person you need to tell. Go tell her. He's like, I don't know how she'll react. Doesn't matter how she'll react. Just tell her, right? You need to get it out there, because a little bit like reality, no matter how messy, is more valuable than an elaborate facade. And I tell you, facades will always catch up to you. If you're telling stuff that isn't true, it'll always catch up to you. And as we all know, because we've all done it in the past. And as we finish up today in verse 22 and 27 is right here. And this is what my brother, and again, that reality, no matter how messy, is more valuable than the elaborate facade. My brother, Rob, is always just about the real. He's always about the reality. He doesn't care. He'll say the things that most people are thinking that aren't willing to say. And that's, again, why he's a hero, but he works at this all the time. And this last one in verse 22 and 27 is, I think, the thing that he works on the most and is most conscious about. But he does the right hard work when nobody's watching, and that's, you are blessed to be a blessing. You are blessed to be a blessing. Your worst nightmare in the world is somebody else's dream. And so there's a way for you to be able to bless. And for me today, like, I wish I could buy my brother everything in the whole entire world, although he could buy whatever he wants. But this podcast today is for him, like, making this coming from my heart and wanting him to know how much he means to me. This is my gift to him. And sometimes it's not about you blessing someone through money. It's you blessing them through your talents and the way in which, like, what you have, what your gifts are, and can you give them away? And Rob, I want to give my gift away to you today and tell you that you are absolutely awesome. I love you. You are my hero, man. You're like, you told me one time that I was the little rabbit in the dog race for you. I tell you, you are that for me, man. And every day when I wake up, I'm thinking, like, man, and it's not that I worship you, man. It's just I look to you and you inspire me to no end, because you are blessed and to be a blessing, and you understand that. And so as we finish up today, guys, just honoring, like, and I tell you this, like, think about this. If there's a person in your life that you honor, that you absolutely love, that hung the moon for you and that inspires you and does all those things, tell them. Write it down, or tell them, send them a video, call them, do whatever, but make sure that they know. The most effortless appearance generally comes from the elite work that is done when no one is watching. No one will ever recognize, and seldom has a straight line to your desired results. But like my wife says, do it anyway. And I'm just very thankful that my brother does it anyway when no one's watching, no one recognizes it. And most of the time, it's not a direct line to the desired result, but it lays the foundation. It's like those little Inchstones. You put an Inchstone in place, an Inchstone in place, an Inchstone in place, and before you know it, you have a milestone. And so I want to thank all of you. It's been the Corresponding Proverb, Corresponding Day, Mr. Roy Tuscany. If you haven't checked out the High Fives Foundation, check that out. It is unreal. Check it out on Instagram. Roy Tuscany had a spinal cord injury, and as opposed to looking at all the bad things that it was and all the things he couldn't do in his life, he broke down the barriers, he smashed them, and he has adapted. He has adapted that. He has adapted and destroyed. He has just destroyed all the barriers, and he's helping other spinal cord injury victims to be able to see things in extreme sports and in lifestyle that they never would otherwise. And that's why the High Fives Foundation is so powerful. So, and he's a powerful friend too. Love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe, do all those things that you know you need to do. Come see us at the Vibe Room, buy the book, buy bling, and have a phenomenal day. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to